What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Good Morning Tottenham. It's not as heavily stacked as previous days. I think this is probably the slowest news day we've had in the last 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, I think usually it's been a busy last 2 weeks in terms of news, but as of when we last gave you an update yesterday, not too much has happened, but there have been some snippets we can talk about.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, if you are a member, link to call in is in the community section. We're taking calls, anything relating to Tottenham today.
And also, if you want to send in any of your tweets as well, at WeAreTottenhamTV on Twitter, we'll react to any content or opinions you want us to react to over on Twitter. So go over and tag us in tweets.
I mean, probably the big talking point of today is Tanguy Ndombele from yesterday. So there's been some sort of reports, that we've brought you over the last couple of days saying Tanguy's considering his options and what have you. And there's been an update from The Athletic, I think it was today, saying, from Charlie Eccleshare, he's saying that there is confidence among some sources that with Tanguy Ndombele's talent, a buyer could be found, although others feel that he and Tottenham Hotspur are trapped by the length and value of his contract.
6-year deal he signed.
He signed a 6-year deal, what was it, 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. 200 grand a week. Mm-hmm. With what he showed at Spurs in the last 2 years, no one's going to kind of give him that money. And even if he was at the top of his game the last 2 years and showed complete fitness throughout the way and got the player that we thought we were getting, I think that even so, I don't think teams around Europe would be able to afford him.
Yeah, I can't see anyone being able to afford 200 grand
unless
a week.
He goes to the Premier League.
Yeah, unless we send him to City or United or Chelsea. Unless we send him to one of those three clubs. I can't see. I think we're. I wouldn't like to say that we'll use the word stuck with him, but I think we have to have him for next season. I think because there's no. I can't. As much as he wants to leave. This is one aspect where I would agree with Levy that he shouldn't take a big hit on Ndombele with the talent he has. Whereas with someone like Sissoko, you have to take what you can get and get him out of the door as soon as possible. When it comes to Ndombele, there's always a possibility if he was to stay on, he could hopefully fulfill his potential. And when you're balancing an act, when it's a balancing act between taking a lesser fee or hoping we can get the best out of Ndombele, I think at some point it's worth taking the risk that, yeah, we might not get the fee we want, but I hope maybe we can get the best out of him if he does stay. So I would say if we don't get our money back, pretty much, it's worth keeping him.
For how long, though? How long do you wait and how long do you try and nurture his talent? Because obviously his talent is there for everyone to see. Nobody's doubting how much talent he has, but he's clearly got a mentality issue, clearly. And I think we knew about it, didn't we, before he came to Tottenham, this mentality issue. It was made quite evident by the Lyon fans that he did have some sort of mentality issue. We chose to kind of brush it aside and not really take notice of it and think that it would change when he did come to Tottenham and got his big move on big money, club record signing. But that hasn't been the case, and I think that these issues are following him around pretty much, and he needs to buck up his ideas if he's going to make it in this as a top player.
Well, it's interesting when it comes to quote attitude issues when it comes to Ndombele, because there are two schools of thought in terms of how people perceive Ndombele. I was reading this article this morning from Charlie Eccleshare, and he goes on to say that Ndombele, he's not a very outgoing person. He's very introverted. A lot of people think that he is kind of very how do you say, indifferent to a lot of things because of the way he conducts himself. He says a source in the dressing room, Eccleshare quote, says, if you know Ndombele, you know he is not a very vocal person. He doesn't speak a lot. That's just his personality. He's not someone who likes to have hour-long or even 30-long-minute conversations with people. He's more of a few minute conversation. He's generally very, very calm.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when it comes to that, so maybe with a lot of people, he's misunderstood with managers, and maybe they just don't. Maybe they think he's indifferent, he doesn't care, but actually he's just shy or quiet and that kind of stuff. And maybe they perceive him in a certain way, and that could be the case. And maybe it's just about finding a guy who can understand him and maybe get into his psyche. Eccleshare also says. The key to whether Ndombele is a success at Spurs will likely lie in the extent to which Nuno can understand the midfielder's personality. This was something Mourinho was nearly fully able to do, and perhaps comes down to how Ndombele's shyness can be mistaken for indifference. Those who have worked with him speak of someone with a great personality, but emphasise he's very reserved. Even when dropped and publicly criticised by Mourinho, Ndombele never demanded to speak to the head coach about it. So far, he has been the same with Nuno, who is not big on one-on-one conversations himself. So I think, look, we're not in the dressing room. We don't know everything, but I think it's important to kind of give the other side of the story in terms of maybe people say he has attitude problems, and it might be true. We don't know, but also it's important to note that. It's just his personality might lead to people thinking automatically that he doesn't care, or he's not bothered about being criticised or not being picked and stuff, when actually that's his personality and he likes to focus on his football. It says Ndombele rarely gives interviews, and some in his homeland think this can make him a very easy target. It feeds into the sense that he doesn't care as much as some other players. From his own perspective, though, it is simply that he wants to concentrate on his football. So, look, we could be being unfair, but the fact of the matter, the brass tacks facts are Pochettino, Mourinho, Mason, and now Nuno have all had trouble with him.
Yeah.
So we can't get away from that either. It's you could say however you like that maybe all four managers haven't been able to understand him, but at the end of the day, it gets to a point where he has to take his own responsibility as well.
It's true, but what I would say on the Nuno situation with Tanguy Ndombele, for me personally, I think it's way too early for Nuno to make that call. You know, Nuno's only been here for a month or whatever it's been.
Yeah.
And
well, Nuno hasn't said he wants him out yet.
No, I'm not saying he has, but the rumours that we're having is Tanguy is looking for a way out, and we could be considering our options. And I don't think I think, like I said, I think it's way too early. First of all, for Tanguy to make that decision, and for Nuno to make that decision, because they're both in a brand new relationship here. So I mean, I would like to give it another year because of the talent he has. I just really hope we don't sell him this summer. But you can't get away from the fact that, like you said, each manager seems to have a problem with him.
Yeah, and that's something that at some point there has to be a breaking point. And I don't think we're at there. I just don't think we're at the breaking point yet when it comes to Ndombele. I don't think we are. I know it's been 2 years. I remember Pochettino said when he first came it could take 2 years for Ndombele to fully adapt. So we're at 2 years now. I mean, clearly he's still having problems, but hopefully this season can be the season for him. And this is what I was saying about people criticising him for not being happy that his friends are leaving and stuff. I think it just plays into the fact that that's his natural personality, and that is, I think, when it's someone like him, when he's that kind of person who clearly is quite shy and whatever, and struggle coming into the dressing room into a new country. I think it is going to affect him when two of his best mates are leaving or looking to leave or whatnot, and they helped him settle in. And look, he's gonna have to man up, and he's gonna have to kind of, if they do leave and he does stay, he's gonna have to get used to it, no doubt about it. But I can understand why he's kind of at the moment looking at things like. I'm not happy that he's considering his option actually leaving, but I can understand him maybe being a bit like apprehensive about what's happening. But I don't think he should be. I think the fact that he's actually considering leaving isn't a good sign at all.
And he was considering leaving 2 summers ago as well. Was it 2 summers ago?
No, we signed him 2 summers ago. So
last summer he was considering leaving.
Well, that was him considering leaving, but also Mourinho was considering selling him.
And it's also should be said that Mourinho probably was the one that really got the best out of him, and he didn't get on with Mourinho at the beginning, and then they got on really well, and Mourinho did start seeing the best of him, and then Mourinho suddenly gets sacked, and then he doesn't play a game again under Mason, which was really strange because he was one of our best players last season.
Yeah, he became almost not, I wouldn't say undroppable, but it became a mainstay in the team, didn't he? Under Mourinho after a time, especially after the beginning.
You started seeing consistent good football from him.
Yeah, I think the problem is, I think maybe it's similar to Delhi in what we were talking about with Delhi. I think it was on when was it? I can't remember. A few days ago, where Delhi at his best when he's given a bit more freedom, and maybe he doesn't have to do it when you know he had Walker. Sorry, I was talking about this with John, not you. But we said Delhi when he was at his best, right? When was it his best? When he had Walker, he had Rose, he had Dembele, and he had Wanyama, all covering his spaces, and he had 3 centre backs as well. So he had all that cover for him, so he could play a free role up front and do what he needs to do. I feel like it's a similar case with Ndombele, where we need to kind of if you put him next to Højbjerg and a Skip, 2 kind of workhorses in a midfield 3, where yes, he still has to do his work, and maybe he has a lot of cover for him. Maybe that's where you can unlock the best out of him. You just give him a tiny bit more freedom than the other you give him a bit more freedom than the other centre mids. That's how you can unlock the best out of him. The problem is we've got Delhi, we've got Lo Celso. You know, you can't. Can we base the whole team around him? Can we afford to leave out Lo Celso and Delhi to have him in? I don't know.
I think with the ability he has, I think you can. I think he was thriving last season with a back 4 behind him and Højbjerg next to him. I think he was thriving in that situation. So I don't think
he was thriving. Was the team thriving though?
At times. That's
the thing.
At times. But I think if you get the balance right, I think it can work. But it's all about getting the balance right. But I don't think that he needs so much cover to get the balance right.
I think he might need more cover than other players, basically, is my point. I don't think he's lazy. I think we saw last season where there were at times, I can't remember what games exactly, but there were times in the middle of last season where he was working nearly as much as other players in terms of interceptions and tackles and stuff like that. He can be very aggressive, but I just feel like he can't keep that aggressiveness up for 90 minutes. And I think that's
been the problem his whole Spurs career.
And that's why I think a lot of the time he could do with a bit more cover. When it comes to that.
Look, you're right there, but it got to a stage with Ndombele last season where he was getting taken off 60th minute every game, right? Yep. And then it gradually got better and better and better, and it got to a stage under Jose Mourinho where he was lasting 90 minutes and he was affecting games late on in the game as well. So I think he's proved that he can do it for a 90-minute stretch. I mean, it's just about keeping himself fit and keeping himself consistent.
Yeah, but I just have a feeling like, can you play, for example, Ndombele and Delhi in the same team?
That's a question.
Can you play not to say Lo Celso is not a hard worker, but can you play Ndombele and Lo Celso in the same team with only Højbjerg there as a defender?
I think you can, because I think Lo Celso and Ndombele both can be quite aggressive and both can be workhorses in the middle of the park.
Yeah, but there's one thing being aggressive, but there's another thing being able to you need to be able to outwork the opposition. Are they able to do that?
I think so. I think Lo Celso's a hard worker, and I think Tanguy also can be a hard worker.
Yeah, but there's one thing being a hard worker, right? But there's another thing being like when you're up against, for example, even you're playing against let me think, I don't know, you're playing against West Ham, right? They got Rice and Souček. As hard as Lo Celso works, he's never, he's not going to be able to match their strength and aggression, however hard he works. So you need to maybe compensate in other areas. And if you've got Ndombele and Lo Celso next to each other, when you're up against, say, Rice and Souček, who are stronger and they're more aggressive than Ndombele and Lo Celso, even if Ndombele and Lo Celso work really hard, as hard as they personally can work, they're not going to be able to work as hard as Rice and Souček. So are they always going to be overworked or overpowered in those kind of situations, is my point.
I think that you got to pick and choose the correct games to play them together and stuff like that. Like, I think that when we're playing at home to a low block side, I think it's perfect to play a Tanguy Ndombele and Lo Celso with a Højbjerg or a Skip just behind them. I think that's perfect. What you're saying against West Ham, like if they're coming up against a Rice or a Souček, I think, yes, they probably can't match them in aggression and sheer work rate, but what they can match them in, what they can trap them in is their pure skill set. And I think that they can dance their way around. They can maneuver their way around anyone. They've got such big talent, these two. I think they can work in pretty much any game in the Premier League. And we've seen how, in the past, how Tanguy Ndombele can thrive against the bigger teams, against a Man City, against a Man United. You know what I mean? So I think if we get it right, it can work.
Yeah, but he thrived. I know he's thrived recently in the centre, but mainly at the moment he's thrived in those big games when he's given freedom, is my point. When he's played in the hole. Man City when we beat them 2-0. Who's played in the hole?
Oh.
When we beat Man United,
He was in the
he
hole.
was in the, like all the when for Spurs anyway. I know for Lyon, he's played in a 4-3-3. That's my point. He needs a bit more cover. He needs a bit more protection. I don't know if you can put him in a pivot 4-2-3-1 and against these kind of sides, and it will necessarily. He might play well, but as a team, are we going to be lacking because he's always having to track back, and maybe he's not the best at that?
Wasn't there games against Man City earlier on in his career where he played a bit deeper and he really did thrive and played
for Lyon
really
in a
well.
4-3-3.
And against, I know we lost 7-2 that game, but the first 20 minutes, half an hour against Bayern Munich.
Exactly my point.
Yeah,
that proves my point. He
Yeah.
played well, and we played well attacking, and then what happened? We got battered 7-2.
Yeah, we got battered 7-2, but was that? I don't know.
It's because he leaves a hole there. I'm telling you, he leaves a hole there. He could be brilliant, even himself in a you put him in a pivot, I'm sure he'll dance around 2-3 players and he'll do it multiple times a game, but it will leave you exposed, is my point.
Yeah, no, I can see that, and that ties into the mentality issue, in my opinion. It ties into the mentality issue because he's had the utmost fitness. He's been there. When he's playing in the middle of the park, like you say, he leaves holes. But he's got the skill set to not do that. He's got the skill set and he's got the physicality to be a box-to-box midfielder. He does.
Is the other bit of his article is quite interesting. He says Ndombele's problem is that Nuno is an especially system and structural based manager. That is not saying Ndombele can't be a success under Nuno, but it will take a degree of compromise on both sides. After all, Ndombele in February told the Guardian, "I'm someone who plays on instinct. I never ask myself too many questions when I'm on the pitch. Thankfully, things come quickly into my head. You have to try stuff, and taking risks is part of the job. All teams need players who take risks." And look, that's absolutely right. But that's my point. As it said here, there needs to be a compromise on both sides, and that's what I feel like with Ndombele. There might need to be if you're going to unlock the real.
And I thought that the compromise started to show under Jose Mourinho. I thought he was doing that. As it was getting on in the season, as his fitness was growing, I thought that he was growing into that role superbly. And we all thought at one stage last season, wow, the real Tanguy is here now.
It's true. It's true.
We thought that he was showing that compromise for the team. He was doing great defensive work. He was doing great going forward. But then Mason came in and just never played him again.
Yeah. So, I completely agree, and maybe depends what demands Nuno has on his centre mids and what he expects, and if Ndombele's doing enough.
And that moment of last season where he was on the top of his game, probably the best football he's played for Tottenham, for sure. It shows, because some people are saying, oh, he's not suited to the Premier League and this kind of stuff. That shows he is. That completely shows he is. And that's what stresses me out so much.
I remember this very clearly when Ndombele was having one of his best moments in the team for himself. I remember it was midway through the season, but Spurs weren't getting the results. He was playing well, but Spurs weren't necessarily getting the results themselves.
Yeah.
So as much as individually we were able to get the best out of him, getting the best out of him wasn't getting the best out of the team, and that was the problem. And there needs to be some sort of balance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true because our results completely dropped off at that time.
Yeah.
From January onwards.
I remember he had we beat Everton lost to Everton 5-4 in the cup. He was brilliant in Ndombele that day. He was brilliant, but we conceded 5 goals.
That was the birth of Lucas Moura in number 10, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we conceded 5 goals.
But we were brilliant as a team that day. But defensively, we were shocking.
That's the thing.
Yeah, the back four was completely
exposed,
and Harry Winks was absolutely awful. And
but he came on an extra time.
Ndombele.
He came on an extra time, I think, so we can't blame that.
What a cameo, though!
One of the worst cameos I've ever seen. But I'm just saying, there has to be some give and take.
It wasn't just Ndombele's fault, though. You know what I mean?
I'm not completely. Of course, it wasn't. Of course, it was. I'm just saying there clearly has to be some give and take with him. I feel.
Yeah.
And I think we can find a system, but it's whether Nuno wants to completely find a system, but revolve the team around Ndombele. Do I think he's good enough to do that? Probably, to be fair, with his quality. But doing that probably limits Little Self, so probably limits Dele Alli. So it's whether Nuno feels like Ndombele either one deserves the team to be around him, and whether it's the benefit of everyone. I don't know. Maybe it is, but at the moment Nuno's leaving him out, and it must be for a reason.
Yeah, it's got to be for a reason, and it doesn't bode well, really. It doesn't bode well, and I really hope this situation can be turned around, because, like I keep saying, this guy, he can be a complete game changer for us if we can get him fit and firing week in, week out. Box to box midfielder. He's got the physicality in the middle to do the defensive side of the game and the creative side of the game. He's second to none. Absolutely second to none.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. I reckon, again, it's going to be... he's not going to be... I don't think he's going to be involved against City on Sunday, clearly. If he hasn't played pre-season and he's fit and he hasn't been selected for Arsenal, I can't see him being selected for City on Sunday. Although there is 9 subs, that gives him a bit of a chance, but I still think it's unlikely he'll be in the squad. If he's not in the squad for the first couple games, it'll be interesting to see how we decide to go forward with it. But then again, as you say, it's about if there's a buyer or not.
Yeah.
What would you say? Maybe it's a case of loaning him out with an obligation to buy. It could even be one of those.
Could be one of those. I'll just be so gutted to see him go, to be honest. I really would.
Me too.
Absolutely gutted.
And you know, if he goes back to the French League or La Liga, where maybe he doesn't have as much defensive responsibility, he's just going to smash it.
It could be like a kind of a Memphis Depay situation where, you know, it didn't really work out at Man U. I know it's different with the ages and stuff like that, but, you know, it didn't really work out at Man U, and now he's like one of the best Dutch players around.
You just know that if Ndombele was at Man City, where they pretty much have the ball 90% of the time, he would just be unbelievable. Yeah. It's because Spurs aren't as good as a team, basically, and we can't keep the ball as well as Man City, so he has a lot more defensive duties, and that's it.
Yeah. It's true.
And then he struggles a bit to his forte is not tracking back, so he's a bit less effective. If Ndombele played for Man City, I reckon everyone would consider him one of the best in the league. I reckon.
There was a time last season where I think people were starting to consider him the best in the league. One of the best, anyway.
True, there were times.
All right, let's move on. Let's start talking about Martinez, Lautaro Martinez. We've had an update from Fabrizio Romano this morning on the podcast Here We Go podcast, and he says Tottenham's €70 million bid for Lautaro Martinez is still something to keep an eye on, as Inter's financial trouble could force their hand regardless of how much they want to keep the player. Interesting.
So maybe look, I think there's a slight chance that this still might happen, but I guess they can't sell Martinez straight away. I think there's probably going to have to be imagine they did it in the same day or something, you know what I mean? There'll be riots at San Siro.
Has Lukaku been confirmed for Chelsea
It's
yet?
not confirmed, but it's pretty much is. He's had his medical. It's about when, not if. So so we have to wait and see how they react to it. I think there's got to be a bit of PR about it as well, as much as their financial troubles clearly are very, very bad. I think there's already been trouble with the fans for selling Lukaku. They've defaced his mural. They've been protesting outside the ground. So if they were to sell Martinez, if this news was to come out right now saying Martinez is also going, then that would be an absolute PR disaster. I mean, it will still be bad if it happens in a few weeks, but at least maybe they can come up with some sort of justification and signings, basically. They can sign some players before.
Well, they are on the way to signing Dzeko. They're on the way to signing Zapata and potentially even Martial.
Well, Romano said Martial to Inter's a no-go.
Oh, it's a no-go.
That's what he said. So, Zapata, yes, it looks like they signed Zapata, but Zapata played in a friendly for Atlanta yesterday, so that doesn't seem very far gone just yet. I just think at the moment... it's still unlikely. I think it's a possibility, but I just think Inter Milan can't afford not to at least seem to be looking to keep him, basically, is my point. Even if they are going to sell. So I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. If it does happen, it will happen in a few weeks' time, I think.
The Athletic did follow on from that story, and they say Inter remain adamant that Martinez is staying despite Inter having parallel talks with Tottenham Hotspur, Atletico Madrid and Arsenal before the Lukaku sale. So, I mean, they were actually speaking to Arsenal. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's what Arsenal put in an offer, apparently. Imagine if Arsenal beat him to us, that'd be a disaster. But that'd be an unbelievable signing for Arsenal if they did that. But
It's an unbelievable signing for anyone, isn't it?
yeah, if they're going to get a seriously good player, he's not just your goal scorer. Although he got 19 goals in Serie A, I think he also got 10 assists as well. I think he was more of the link-up man to Lukaku's poaching and finishing.
Yeah.
So he's more of an all-round forward than Lukaku. Not all-round forward, but he's more of like he has a bit more to his game in the build-up play than maybe someone like Lukaku does, and he's an exceptional talent. And at 23 years of age, you're getting him at a good age as well. I just feel like it would be a fantastic signing, whoever gets him. And even if he does leave, but I got a feeling they're going to hold strong Inter now that after selling Lukaku. It's going to be so difficult for them to justify to their fans selling him or selling another player, because I know they might not have a choice. It's obviously not. It's not a foregone conclusion. The chairman might not have a choice, but I feel like he has to at least be seen to be trying his hardest to keep him. I think.
Yeah. Just like us with Harry Kane, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, but it's different because we don't have we're not a team who doesn't have a choice. We hold all the cards. Inter don't seem to hold all the cards right now.
They don't seem to hold any cards right now, to be honest, with their financial situation. But we don't actually know how bad it is, but it does seem pretty bad if this is even being talked about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting, the rumours at the moment. It's hard. It's interesting. A lot of the reliable people are saying Inter are not going to sell him by any means necessary. Now they're saying Lukaku. Some are saying that's just a public position, and behind the scenes, their financial situation means they have to sell. It's difficult. I remember that Matt Hayes thing that he was you tagged that he posted yesterday, saying that Lautaro Martinez does have an agreement with Spurs still, and it is going to happen. But that was, I looked at the source. That was posted by an AC Milan people. Yeah. So of course they're going to say that, and I found that quite funny. It was an AC Milan sources basically, or journalists.
You're talking about the tweet that I asked for the tier on Twitter last night.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the tweet.
They're AC Milan people, so I think they're always going to kind of err on the side that he's going to go and stuff. They will probably want to see Inter crash and burn.
Of course they do. After winning the league, especially.
Yeah, I just wonder if it'll be interesting to see if they don't sell Martinez. Maybe if there's someone, because I reckon maybe that, for example, if they're selling people, maybe they would be more willing to sell players in other positions, like I don't know, like Skriniar or something, or De Vrij, because they haven't sold a centre back yet, rather than Martinez because they've already sold a striker.
Well, I'll take one of them too.
I'll take Skriniar. If they're in deep financial trouble and Martinez is a no-go, I think Skriniar should be our next on the list.
Skriniar would be an absolute brilliant signing.
Skriniar Romero in the back two would be unbelievable.
How would that rate for you in terms of league position, best centre-back partnerships in the league? Because it'll definitely be up there, that's for sure.
I guess first of all, it depends what kind of Van Dijk we're going to get next season. Yeah. I reckon he'll be back to his best, but I don't know.
Assume he's back to his best.
Skriniar and Romero, I guess depends how good Romero is in the Premier League. But when you're comparing them to Diaz, Stones, Varane, Maguire, Van Dijk and Gomez, or Van Dijk and Konate, and then you've got a back three of Rudiger, Silva, and Christensen or Zuma. I think player for player, it's probably better than Chelsea. Is it better than United, Maguire and Varane? I don't know. It's hard to say yes. It's hard to say. Varane is Varane, and then Maguire.
Varane would be kind of you compare him to Romero kind of thing, and Maguire you'd compare to Skriniar, right?
I think Skriniar, Maguire similar level, but I think Varane's better than Romero
by far. Yeah, not by far, but he is a better player.
Yeah, he's better. So, and then you got Diaz and Stones against Romero and Skriniar. I think Stones would be worse than both of them, although I would maybe not after last season, but I would say overall, I think Skriniar and Romero.
I would prefer Skriniar and Romero, I think,
to Diaz and Stones, but then Diaz is unbelievable.
Diaz,
it would pretty much be Diaz, Skriniar, Romero, Stones to be that order, basically.
Something like that, yeah. Something like that.
So maybe Romero and Skriniar might be better. I don't know. And then for Liverpool, if Van Dijk's back to his best,
Van Dijk, Gomez, and Konate.
So even if we get Skriniar and Romero, that's how far we're lagging behind. Even if we get them, it's not even like it puts us in the conversation, but it's not like we are move ahead of anyone.
Yeah.
We're just catching up, basically, is my point. And that's what we need to do.
Well, look, I think there is some legs to this deal. I really do believe there are some legs to this deal. We're just going to have to see how it plays out because, like you said, they're not going to sell Lukaku and Martinez within the space of a few days of each other. So this one could really be like rumbling on until the last embers of the window. I really believe that. 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've got some kind of updates on Vlahovic. Last night it was kind of rumoured that Arsenal have... Well, Dimarzio said it, didn't he? That Arsenal have moved ahead of Spurs in the Vlahovic race. What did you make out of that? It didn't sound too good, did it?
Yeah, I mean...
Dimarzio's a bit hit and miss.
I feel... Well, he can be, can't he, Dimarzio? Because what did he say? He said that the night before Romero signed, there was like details missing or something, and so, like there was a snag.
Yeah.
Although he was the first one to report on Fonseca not coming, I remember that he broke that news. Arsenal moving ahead for Spurs with Vlahovic, maybe because Arsenal right now. The thing is, with Arsenal, maybe they know where they stand with their strikers, and in terms of they definitely want one. Whereas Spurs, we're kind of waiting to see where Harry Kane, what the deal with Harry Kane is.
It sounds like we definitely want one as well, to be honest. Sounds like it. I mean, I'm not too sure what to read into this Arsenal move ahead of Spurs for Vlahovic, because if we want him and Arsenal want him, surely he chooses us. I don't get why he would choose Arsenal.
Maybe
I don't know what moves Arsenal ahead of us.
Maybe he's convinced. Maybe he is convinced that he'll get more game time under Arsenal or something. Because Lacazette, maybe he's convinced that he can definitely get Lacazette, and if Kane stays, maybe he's not as convinced.
Wait till Don Paratici has his talk with Vlahovic's agent, because there's an update from Nicolo Shearer today. I don't know.
Oh, not Nicolo Shearer.
Yeah, Nicolo
Why
Shearer.
him?
He's saying Fabio Paratici will talk with Vlahovic's agent in the next hours. Tottenham want to sign a new striker and are working to reach an agreement. Fiorentina would not sell him and have offered the contract extension to the Serbian player. That's what he's saying. Is he very unreliable then?
He's extremely unreliable. Extremely. He's the worst. Nico Shearer. He's actually the worst. I can't think of anyone worse than him. So I wouldn't trust anything he says.
Worse than Prem Inside Man?
Yeah, I think I'd rather trust the Prem Inside Man. I'm not even joking. At least when he guesses, his guesses sometimes right. Nico Shearer seems to get everything wrong. Everything, all the time.
So Fabio Paratici's not even speaking to him?
No, definitely not. Paratici probably doesn't even know who he is now, I'm guessing, if Nico Shearer says that. Yeah, that unfortunately that's the case with that guy. But there was another one from, I think it was what was it, that Turkish guy?
Ekrem Konar or something.
Yeah, that's the guy. He said that. Where is it? Where's Spurs Web? Why can't I see that Twitter account? Here it is. He says that. Ekrem Konar says Fiorentina are demanding 46 million for Dusan Vlahovic this summer. 46 million pounds, which isn't extortionate amount, I don't think, for a 20-year-old striker who bagged in 21 goals last season.
Yeah, I mean, £50 million gets you Ben White these days, so I think 47 for Vlahovic would be a great deal.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably a good deal. I would say. I think you're not going to get a striker for much cheaper who's worth having. Basically, is my point. So, I hope this one has more legs. I'm not so sure.
I mean, it's clear that we're chasing a striker because we made that bid for Lautaro Martinez. We made that bid. So if that's not going to happen, then we should go in for this guy as hard as we're going in for him.
Yeah, I agree. I just hope we're not like in limbo at the moment with the whole Kane stuff.
I don't think we are, because I think it's shown that we're not by going and putting that 70 million on the table for Lautaro Martinez. I think that shows that we're serious.
Or maybe we're going for a striker before we sell Kane, just so we know we have someone lined up, because we don't want to be in a situation where we sell Kane and then we have no one lined up to sign him. to replace him. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be horrific because they're not easy to get, these strikers, and it's very possible if we were to sell Kane now and we had no one lined up, that we would just really struggle to get a replacement.
I do believe if we had no one lined up, they might try and add like a Gabriel Jesus in the deal or something like that. You know,
I mean, I wouldn't mind Jesus as a backup striker, obviously.
backup though, that's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
backup.
If Kane goes, he won't be a backup.
Well, and I'd want to sign another one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if we were stuck. If we were stuck without signing these two players, it gets to the end.
If Jesus was our starting striker for 6 months or a year, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world.
It's not the worst thing in the world. It's just not ideal, is it?
No, it's not ideal. I don't. Again, it plays into us probably not having the best of seasons, if that was the case.
Exactly. But let's move on. Let's talk about Harry Kane now. Fabrizio Romano said earlier today, keep an eye on Gabriel Jesus in the Kane deal as he's been offered to Tottenham Hotspur. Laporte has also been offered. Tottenham have said no to players deals so far. I mean, we were talking about Gabriel Jesus just a minute ago, but the one for me is Laporte. I've been saying it all along. I've really been saying it all along. I've been saying it ever since Harry Kane has given that interview with Gary Neville. Like, Laporte is the one that I would really want in this Man City squad because I think it's a viable option. He's not. He hardly got any starting time for Man City last season. He's one of the best centre backs in Europe, never mind the Premier League. And if we can convince him to come here and forge a partnership with Romero and get 100 million in through the door as well, I think it's an absolute no-brainer. I really think
absolutely. He helps us out with the. He helps us out with our defence, which we desperately need help with. I believe he could really help propel us to a different level in the back two. If he's really unhappy in Man City and he's willing to drop down a bit, then I think we can pay his wages, whatever he's on now. If he's on 120 grand a week or whatever it is, we can probably match that because Toby was on that, wasn't he? So if we give the Toby wages to Laporte, I think he could help with the Nuno system, the way he plays. Very aggressive, very good on the ball. Can also play left back as well if need be. So yeah, I think Laporte would be definitely one. If you give me a list of realistic players from the City squad I'd want, he would be probably top of that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't elaborate more on that because we've just said it all. But like
in terms of Gabriel Jesus though, what if they offered 80 million plus Jesus and Laporte?
80 million plus Jesus and Laporte. What would that deal kind of amount to at the end with the player values? How much is Gabriel Jesus worth?
Well, Tammy Abraham's worth 34. Jesus is probably worth 40.
Yeah.
And then Laporte's worth about 50. So that's about 170 million, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't. The only way I would want Gabriel Jesus at Spurs if he's a backup. I don't want him here as first choice striker.
Well, there is a case to say if he was because he's never been a starter at City, but there is a case to say if he was a starter, maybe you'd see a different level from Jesus.
Yeah, there could be that.
I think he's a good player. I think people bash him too much. I think
there could be that argument, but I don't want to take that risk. I'd rather bring in a Martinez or a Vlahovic for sure.
Why is it more of a risk to have Jesus as our starting striker than it is of Vlahovic?
I think Vlahovic is more of the striker we actually need, a target man up there, big, strong, can win headers in the air. I think that with Gabriel Jesus there, we don't really have a focal point up top. That's my opinion.
Yeah, fair. That's a fair point. He's more of like a Danny Ings kind of striker.
Yeah. And I think that with Harry Kane going, you need more of a focal point up there.
Yeah, I mean, we can't have, if we do sign Jesus, but what about if it is Jesus as our starting striker and we sign a backup behind him, like, I don't know, Tony?
How much would Tony even cost?
Probably around 40 as well.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, yeah, I'd like Tony through the door, but again, Tony, I don't know. Yeah, Tony could be good, but I would like to see him get Premier League experience before he joins us, to be honest.
But yeah, all I'm saying is I think I wouldn't mind. I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world if Gabriel Jesus is involved in the deal, and then at least we have, whether he's backup or starting, at least we have a striker there while we look for another one. I think.
Yeah, look, I think that deal would be a good deal to take. But like I said, even if Gabriel Jesus comes through the door, I'd like to see another striker come through the door.
Yeah, because I think his goals to game ratio is still pretty strong for Man City, and I think he's got good skills. He's a good finisher. He's stronger
Darren
than
Bent's
people.
goals to game ratio is great too.
Yeah, but he's not a Darren Bent. I think he's a lot better than Darren Bent. I think his technical ability is a lot better than people give him credit for Jesus. I think he can be a bit of an erratic finisher, but I think he can be quite lethal when as a poacher in front of goal. I think that he's not a target man. Obviously, he's got quite a bit of pace. He's stronger than people give him credit for, but he's short, so he doesn't win many headers. I just think he's a decent player. I remember when a couple years ago there was people definitely touting him to take over from Aguero. It never kind of happened for him in that sense. But I still think that he would definitely add value to us if he was part of the squad as one of our strikers.
Look, like I said, like I keep saying, I wouldn't mind him in the squad. I wouldn't say no to him in the squad, but I just don't want him as our starting striker, as our main man.
Vlahovic and Jesus?
Yeah, I would take that.
Or Vlahovic or Jesus and Martinez?
I think one of them needs to be a target man. One of the strikers we bring in needs to be a focal point up top. So I think it should be Vlahovic and Martinez, or if we can't get Martinez, Vlahovic and Gabriel Jesus. That's my opinion. I think you need to have two different strikers with two different skill sets. I think that Gabriel Jesus and Martinez, yes, they're different players, and yes, they bring different things, but they also bring a lot of the same things.
Yeah. Would you rather say Spurs get 160 million for Kane, or 130 million, or 130 million plus Jesus? And then we already have a striker, then we can spend the other 130 on a new one. Or would you rather just take the cash and...
It depends if we can get Martinez or not, for me.
Well, it's a risk. Obviously, you don't know who you can get, but you're just saying.
I think that we need to get that deal done before we sell Harry Kane, first of all. If we can get Martinez through the door, then I don't want Gabriel Jesus. Like I said, if we can't get it through the door, then I'm happy to have him as part of the squad.
But do you think Spurs are right rejecting... player plus cash offers and so just straight cash?
For now, yes. For now, I think when it gets to later in the window to see what targets we've brought in, then we can assess it then. But for now, yeah, I think they're right. Unless Laporte has been offered apparently. So look, at the end of the day, we're not going to sell Kane until the end of the window. The deal might even be agreed now. We don't know, but we still need to get our targets in so we don't get held to ransom by other clubs. That's the facts of the matter.
Do you reckon? If the deal was already agreed, this whole thing makes a lot more sense between why the club's being quiet, why Kane said he never refused training and stuff like that.
Could be, yeah. I mean,
doesn't it kind of make things add up if the deal's already agreed?
It does a little bit, yeah, it does, but it doesn't add up when they're all saying that Harry Kane's going to be in the squad and he's fit to play on Sunday. And
that doesn't add up. You're right. It's true. I don't know. It's so hard to know.
Because we were convinced that he would be out for the start of the season.
Everyone said it. Everyone said that the fact that he stayed an extra bit of holiday meant that he's ruled out for the start of the season. All the reliable people said that. I think it was Dan Kilpatrick or Charlie Heckleshare, one of them two, said it. So I thought that was definitely going to be the case, but it seems like they're going back on that now.
Yeah. Dark Sun G with the super chat here saying, when does the transfer window end? It ends at the end of this month, 31st of August, I believe. Or is it the 1st of September? I think it's the 31st of August. Yeah, 31st.
I think I don't know. Can't remember.
They change the timings every year.
They always change it. Jacob Nash says 31st. Should we look at some tweets? There's actually speaking about tweets. Jacob Nash sent us a tweet as well.
Give me your key.
All right. Jacob Nash says, where would Ndombele go if he was sold, do you think? Probably McDonald's, I would say. I don't know. I'm not so sure. Very harsh. I shouldn't have been so harsh on them. I don't know. I don't think he's going to go PSG now that pretty much they've confirmed Messi. I don't know where he would go. It's a tough one here. I can't see him going anywhere in Italy because all Serie A teams are struggling. It's tough to see him going anywhere. Barcelona can't buy anyone. Madrid probably aren't going to spend the money on him right now. Where's he going to go? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know who can afford him, which is why part of the reason why it's unlikely he's going to leave right now. What other tweets we got here? Kaying Humbum says, sell Ndombele and get 40 million. Use 15 on Awan, the rest on Martinez. I don't know if you know how maths works, my friend, because first of all, Awa is definitely going to be more than 15. And second of all, 40 minus 15 is 25. And so you're saying spend 25 on Martinez. I mean, Martinez is going for 70. So, no, is basically how I'm going on that one, unfortunately. What's to say? Well, we have some opinions to share. Pierre should be our captain. Bergwijn is super underrated. We should accept the deal of 130 million plus Laporte for Kane, or Sterling or Silva, but Laporte is the best option. Doherty is better than Tomiyasu. What you? Oh, Spurs News says Doherty is better than Tomiyasu.
Tomiyasu's probably got to be rubbish then.
Yeah, he's got to be awful. If that's true. Bloody hell. Hope that's not true. I don't know. We haven't really seen too much of him. I hope that's not true. I don't know where he gets that opinion from. John Nguyen says, do you reckon if we sign Awa and Ndombele would stay? Well, he'd have another mate, would he?
Exactly, that would convince him to stay.
Maybe. I'd hope so. What's his team? Lewis Titmer says, if we do cash swap deal with Ndombele for Martinez and we sell Kane to City for Laporte and Silva and cash, this would be our team. You putting Bernardo Silva in centre mid? Interesting.
I can't read it out.
Maurice in goal, Tomiyasu, Romero, Laporte, Reguilon. Midfield three of Lo Celso, Højbjerg and Bernardo Silva, with Son, Lucas and Martinez up front.
I would love that. What a team that is.
Not a bad team. I wouldn't put Bernardo Silva in centre mid though.
I think he can do a job there though.
Yeah, for Man City, not for us. Yeah. Man City won the league with Delph left back. I don't think we could do that.
But if you have Laporte and Romero at the back with a Højbjerg, Skip there as well.
It wasn't Skip, it was Lo Celso.
Oh, Lo Celso. Can work.
Who you could do a Hotspur live stream called Can Tottenham Make Top 4 or Where Will Tottenham Place this season? Just an idea. Oh, we're getting ideas here from Smart Donut. Oh, take that into consideration, my friend. Thank you for the
Hotspur.
The Hotspur is returning in due course.
I was on watching David Harris's stream last night. Mm-hmm. The whole of the We Are Tottenham army was in the chat there last night, and John Cooper was in there last night, and basically everyone was talking about morosexuals. And everyone was David Harris goes, I identify as a morosexual. And everyone...
It's like a meeting.
Yeah. It was so funny in there last night.
Brilliant. MSA, Morosexuals Anonymous.
Exactly.
Avi says, I feel bad for Tanguy after you read the article about his personality. Maybe we are making wrong perceptions about him, but who knows? It's hard to know what the truth is because we're not there. We're not there in the training ground or whatnot. We don't know how he's actually acting. As much as it might be a personality thing, you also got to act in the right way.
Look, there's got to be a reason why every manager has got a problem with him, got an issue with him at some stage. You know what I mean? There's got to be a reason.
It can't just be a personality thing.
It can't be just for nothing.
You've got to be
like very
playing...
different managers as well. Pochettino, Jose Mourinho, Ryan Mason. Ryan Mason. You think he would come in just to steady the ship and try and keep everyone happy? Mm-hmm. He didn't give him a single minute.
And the thing with Tanguy
apart from the first game.
Yeah, the thing is as well. It is one thing having these personality traits, but if you're doing it on the pitch, I'm sure they're always going to give you opportunities. But there must be something with how he's conducting himself when he's on the pitch. It can't just be personality-wise, because otherwise, I don't think managers are that fickle where they're just going to look at the personality and say, "Oh, he's not for me," and then not play him ever, even if he's playing really well on the training ground. It must be something to do with that as well. Mr. H1 says, after the article you just read on Tanguy, I feel very bad for criticising his attitude. I generally feel his personality is misunderstood. Let's give this boy the best environment. Jose almost got him in his element. Hopefully Nuno will improve on that.
Is Matt Hayes saying in the comments that he's got some Martinez info for us that he wants to share with us, or is he not saying that? That's what I want to know. Matt Hayes, if you're watching, let us know.
I want to
know. Are you coming on to drop the exclusive? What's going on? Is Martinez at Hotspur Way right now?
Everyone's
Who's
crowding
tracking
around.
the flights? Who's tracking the flights?
All the sport, not Phil, Pilch says all the tests, so all the sports science tests they run on body analysis, recovery, stamina, strength can't hide from data. Tanguy must surely be one of the reasons why Kane wants out. 200k a week, I would still keep him and work his ass off, or we lose millions in the market. Awful buy. Would you think Kane seeing Tanguy on 200 grand a week and him not being as important as Kane affects Kane at all?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think at all, really. Or what's this? He says, I don't have any new info, unfortunately. I wish I did. It's a shame. That's a shame. But by the way, the call lines are open right now. So if you want to call in, click the link in the community section. We look forward to hearing you and all your opinions and anything you want to talk about regarding Spurs. We're here to chat to you. But back on the Kane thing, I can't see that being an issue, to be honest. I don't think Kane is one of those guys that's motivated by money. I think he's motivated by success and trophies.
I don't think he's motivated by money, but obviously, if he wasn't the most, he's the highest paid because he deserves to be. If he wasn't the highest paid, there would be an issue, I think. So money always makes a bit of a difference, even if you're not motivated by it. And maybe I don't think he probably sees Tanguy and is angry that he's on the same, but he can't be too happy about it.
I don't think it plays in his mind that much. I don't think it's a thing or an issue. I really don't.
If Tanguy was on more than him, though, would that be an issue?
Maybe. I don't know. I just don't see that Kane being that kind of guy to get the hump over that kind of thing.
Yeah, me too. Josefar says, do we need a creative midfielder in addition to a centre-back, defender and striker? So, if so, who do you think will be a good recruitment? Lastly, what do you think of Coutinho between 15 and 25 million? So if we paid 20 million for Coutinho, is that a good deal?
25 million for Coutinho?
Between 15 and 25, so that's 20, I'm guessing.
How old is he?
29.
I just can't see it being a deal we do. I think we're looking for a different profile of player right now.
And he's got
with
a lot
wages
of
he was on at Barca.
big wages.
Like, bloody hell. Well, he's on like 400 grand a week or something.
Is it that much?
I mean, they signed him for how much?
140 million.
Is that 140 million?
Yeah, and he must be. Probably. I would reckon about 250 he's on. Is he on more than that? Bloody hell. If he is.
Let's have a look. Yeah, no, bloody hell. 383.
Oh, my word. No, stay away, my friend. Stay away. I don't want to pay that guy for one long-range shot in every 10 games.
You know what I mean?
Is that
But
it?
that's what I kept saying about him for Liverpool. Like, people were saying to me, having so many arguments about Coutinho and how good he was for Liverpool, because yes, he was great for Liverpool, but he was so inconsistent for Liverpool, and the money they got for him was an absolute steal. It was an absolute steal. They robbed Barca blind for that money, and I think the max when he left Liverpool that he should have gone for was like 60, 70.
Agreed. What's this we've been tagged in? Some sort of video.
Oh, copy. Is that?
Oh no, but it's some. It's Pablo Mari.
Is that Japhet Tanganga's?
Yeah. Oh, it's quite funny.
Is that? It's probably got the music on.
Oh, is that? Is that Skullfuckery? Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Oh no, it's Mourinho.
Mourinho.
Levy / Enoch Al says, personally, I would love to get Boateng if we wasn't to get someone like Laporte or Skriniar. He's on a free, he's a leader. The experience he could be with Thiago Silva. What are your thoughts, lads?
Who's that they're talking about?
Kevin Prince Boateng.
I mean, we spoke about this in the what's it called, in the tier list, didn't we? Boateng, and I completely said I didn't want him. But on more thinking, I think that actually him alongside a Romero could actually work.
I agree. I've said I wouldn't mind Boateng at all.
Yeah, I mean, it could actually work.
He's not even that old. He's 33, 32,
is he
33.
clubless at the moment?
Is he clubless? Yeah, he's on a free.
He's got no club
No
at the
club.
moment. It's interesting, though, that no one's gone for him.
Yeah, well, I do wonder why no one's gone for him. But
Because you would think someone of that kind of with that experience, he'd be snapped up in seconds.
yeah, especially when you look at someone like Silva, he was pretty much signed the day after he left the Champions League game for PSG. So you'd think Boateng, Jerome Boateng would. You'd think if he was, there would be a lot of interest basically with the career he's had, but doesn't seem to be anyone interested in him right now.
Yeah.
Bob Spur in the tweets.
Ah, come on, Bob Spur.
He
Big
says,
up, mate.
Nuno just doesn't seem to come across as a person who'll beg Kane to stay. He'll ask Kane if he wants to play for Spurs. If it's a no, he'll want Kane out as soon as possible. Yes, he's the best player we have, but we need to be definitive now.
Yeah, but what does that mean? What do you mean we need to be definitive? What does that mean?
I guess he's saying if Kane is saying to Nuno in the talks, I don't want to play for you, then Nuno will push for him to leave.
Yeah, I know, but look, like I keep saying, there is no point announcing we're going to sell Kane before we've got all our targets in. It completely ruins everything that we're trying to do, because like I keep saying, clubs will hold us to ransom. So if we're going to sell him or not, we're not going to find out until the last second of the window.
Yeah, I guess with the whole agreement for Bale and stuff, we probably had that agreement in place, so we knew we were going to agree the deal.
Of course we did, because we bought those 7 players spending the money in beforehand, and that's what we got to do again, and that's what Aston Villa did when they sold Jack Grealish. You know what I mean? This is what teams do because they don't want to be held to ransom.
That's probably the best way to do it. Really random user. What do you think of the Braithwaite rumours? For me, nope. I think he's completely average.
I'm saying a no as well.
Absolute nope. I wouldn't want him. I'd rather play Son up front. I'm not joking. I'd rather play Son up front than Braithwaite.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'd rather play Son up front.
I'd rather play Son up front than probably Gabriel Jesus, though.
No, I wouldn't. I'd rather have
I probably
Jesus.
would.
I would rather have Jesus up front than Son and have Son on the wing. But for me, I'd rather have Bergwijn on the wing and Son up front than Braithwaite up front. But I'd rather have Son on the wing and Jesus up front than the other. So that's what I'm saying. What do you think of Matt Hayes, ITK, Kane, maybe new contract? Matt Hayes?
Kane new contract. Matt Hayes,
ITK.
Matt Hayes, show yourself.
Show yourself, Matt. I want explanations.
Matt, you know the link is in the community section right now.
I need explanations, Matt.
I want to know your ITK, and if you're going to tell me it's Paul Miller,
yeah, don't even if it's Paul Miller. Oh my God, Matt, I need explanations right now. Number 3, if the second centre back we sign needs to be
he's here in the chat, Matt Hayes.
I know, I've seen him. We need the explanations, Matt. If the second centre back we sign needs to be experienced, who do you think it will be?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love it to be the Skriniar one would be perfect, wouldn't it? It'd be absolutely perfect.
Absolutely.
He's at an age where we can have him for a long time. He's got experience. Won the league last year, one of the best defenders in Serie A, but just behind the best defender in Serie A. And look, I think it'd be a match made in heaven in terms of partnership. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could be brilliant. That would be brilliant. With Skriniar being a bit more experienced, having many more years on the top level, and did it in Serie A as well, so you'll know where Romero's coming from, coming to a new league. So that would be the best. Someone says Soyuncu. We're not going to get Soyuncu. Leicester won't sell to us right now.
Soyuncu would cost in excess of 60-70 mil.
Yeah, they were not. Leicester are our rivals. They're not going to challenge. They're not going to sell to us.
I mean, there's rumours though that Maddison could be going to Arsenal.
Yeah, I don't believe that. Maddison started the Community Shield.
Yeah.
Well, there was rumours that he wasn't happy and he was fighting Rodgers, but I don't know. It doesn't seem.
So Matt Hayes in the comments says it's not Paul Miller. I've been told if Kane doesn't get his move to City, he'll sign a lucrative new contract with a release clause to protect our financial interests next summer.
Well, is Kane going to sign it? Why does Kane care about our financial interests? Unless he gets an extra $100,000 a week maybe or something?
Well, they're saying, they're going to put him on massive wages and give him a release clause.
Of what, 100 million?
Yeah, I think maybe even a bit more than 100, because it'll be a renewed contract with longer on his deal. He'll be tied into even longer. but he'll have the exit clause, won't he? So probably around between 100 and 150 million, somewhere like that, if it is true, this.
Interesting. Maybe Paul Miller wasn't chatting shit. I don't know. I don't know who Matt Hayes' sources are.
Well,
interesting. Because it includes a release clause to make it easier for him to force a move out next summer.
can you imagine the look on everyone at Sky Sports' faces if Harry Kane signs a new contract?
Yeah, I'd be like shock.
Yeah. I think we got a caller in the back end. Let's take some calls. We got Dan waiting. 1 second. Dan, how's it going, mate?
Morning, guys. Yeah, decent.
Morning, Dan.
Yeah. Good. Nice shirt, by the way. Is that the new PSG shirt?
Yeah, I'm just following my goat, obviously, to my new club.
You got Messi on the back.
Last season.
I thought by goat you mean Pochettino, I'm assuming, right? Not Messi.
Oh, obviously, that's what I meant. That's the only Argentinian I want to follow.
Exactly, that's damn right. And I'm sure Pochettino is very, very excited. He nearly joined Spurs this summer, and now he's got Messi.
It's definitely not the only Argentinian.
No transfers to possibly the best transfer window ever.
Literally.
He's definitely feeling like he dodged a bullet, isn't he, Pochettino?
Yeah, you can't say not. But I think this transfer window for PSG has got to be the best on record in terms of the amount of free transfers they've got in for them.
Yeah.
For what players they are.
If Carlsberg did free transfers, it would probably be these would be the best free transfers in the world.
It's funny though, because at Spurs, Levy probably told him to look around in the free transfer market, and it took him to go to PSG to get all these free transfers.
Yeah, exactly, and get exactly what he wanted on the free. Brilliant, getting Messi on a free. I mean, you couldn't write it. But Dan, what do you want to discuss today?
I think just the main one is the Harry Kane situation, because it's the ongoing story that's going to rattle on for ages, which I'm fed up with already, but it's an interesting point to talk about. And just in terms of, because all the talk now, because I feel like especially a lot of the fan base have kind of shifted, because I feel like the majority of the fan base, at least what I saw on Twitter and everything, didn't want him to go a couple of weeks ago. They were just adamant, let's try and keep him best we can. And I think that with the souring that's happened due to him not turning to training, a lot of people, if he's that bad, he wanted to go, cut our losses, get as much money or players as we can. Everyone's just talking about the best deals we can get. And I'm just going back and forth on whether it will happen in the first place. Because like I said, I do feel like he kind of admitted defeat a little bit. Maybe he thought, I don't go to training, they're going to stump down a big bid. Or Charlie Kane thought, oh, don't worry, Harry, don't go to training because I've got a big bid coming in for you. They're bound to accept. I just feel like a little bit admitting defeat, but it's going to rattle on. Like, I wonder what will actually get the deal over the line in terms of levy.
Dan, do you mind maybe sitting a bit closer to your microphone? People saying they're struggling to hear you in the comment. That's a bit better, I think.
I mean, we can hear you fine in the headphones. It's just people online are saying they can't hear you.
Well, it's very tough to hear you.
Well, hopefully it's a little bit better, a bit more improved.
I think that's a bit better.
And we can turn him up in the back end as well.
Can we?
Yeah, he's done that.
Okay, fine.
All right, well, let us know in the comments if that's any better.
Dan, talking about the Harry Kane thing, what's your opinion on having Gabriel Jesus included in the deal, even if he comes at Spurs as a backup striker or even as a main striker? Would you rather him be included in the deal or rather just take the cash?
I'm not the biggest fan of Gabriel Jesus, I will say. I definitely would not want him to be a replacement or like our first striker. That I feel would be unforgivable.
Man after my own heart, Dad. A man after my own heart.
He's not that. There's a reason he's not the one taking over the main striker position. Like, I know they're clearly a better club than us, but he's not good enough to be the starting striker at like a bottom half table club maybe, but like he's not good enough, especially if we want to try and catch up. I'd take him as a second option, because to be honest, I don't feel as much as I do. I haven't watched much of Vlahovic, but everything I've heard, he is a good striker. I wouldn't really want him to be the actual replacement right now. That's why I kind of feel, you get Vlahovic in, he learns off Kane, maybe Kane goes next year for this 100 million release clause or whatever. But I don't feel like Gabriel Jesus is the one that we will want to replace it. I think if he comes alongside a Vlahovic or a Martinez, then we've got enough cover, and it's not like he's going to be our starting striker for the whole season. But him himself, not good enough. The only players I would consider, that sounds so, considering our situation, but it's like Bernardo Silva, Laporte, But that's the thing. I don't think it's been reported. Would they come to us? I still don't think they will. I think especially Laporte. You've heard rumours he wants to go back to Spain. He wants to go play like Atletico Madrid or someone. I heard rumours. I don't think they'd want to come to us, and why should they?
Yeah, the thing is with Laporte, he's not getting the minutes at Man City last year that he should be getting. And if he does want to stay in the Premier League, which remains to be seen, if he does want to stay in the Premier League, he's not going to go to Man United. They've just got Maguire and Varane. He's not going to go to Liverpool. He's not going to go to Chelsea, probably, if they're going to sign Koundé. So, I mean, the top four is pretty much out of the question for him if he does want to stay in the Premier League. So, I mean, Leicester or us is his next best option.
Unless he's going in to replace Fofana for the year or anything. I don't know. Thing is, if he would want to come, absolutely I'd take him, because a back line, two centre-backs of Romero and Laporte, that's absolutely mouth-watering. I love that. But, it remains to be seen. I remember, because as well, this came from the Fabrizio Romano report. I don't know if it was yesterday or this morning. Saying keep an eye on it because these players have been offered in the past. But wasn't that the offer, the really derisory offer where they were like 100 million, but you can have players as part of that 100 million?
Yeah,
so it would be
basically
like 50 mil plus Laporte, because that, firstly, that's never going to happen. It would have to be something like 100, at least 100 and Laporte, because Levy wouldn't accept it otherwise. And then it remains to be seen if they would come. If they would, I'd absolutely take him. But I remember Sterling, I think, was one of the players that was potentially offered, and he very much said, no, I would not go to Spurs.
Yeah, but I think that Laporte has actually been one that's been consistent from the beginning till now, of the one that's been linked about kind of in a swap deal. And I think 100 million plus Laporte is a complete no-brainer for us. Complete no-brainer.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That would improve our back line for years to come. That we would instantly go back into the conversation. Like I said, we wouldn't have the best, but we go back into the conversation and have one of the best defenses in the league as long as we get a competent right back. That would be amazing. It just remains to be seen. And I do wonder, we don't know whether these offers come in all the time, but I do wonder whether Levy will only accept hard cash.
Yeah. And it'll be an interesting one because like I keep saying, I don't know how he can turn down 100 million plus Laporte. You can't sign a centre-back that's better than Laporte right now. You can't.
Well, we have to see if the offer comes in, because so far, at least, it seems like the offer hasn't come in yet.
Yeah.
So if it does, but this is the thing once again, because even if that comes later on in the window, at that point, I do think it would be silly to take it, and if we haven't already got a striker in to cover Kane. That's why it's getting so messy now with the season about to start in 5 days. This needs to be sorted. And in an ideal world, it should be sorted by Sunday. And if he's staying, and it's sorted. Because also there was the report about Nuno saying that he'd potentially push for Kane to leave if he wasn't part of his plans. And I completely understand that, because you've got a new manager coming in with the situation they're in. You've got to draw a line under so many players. You're either in or you're out. You're part of the project or you're out. And even if it's Harry Kane, a player as big as Harry Kane, if you're not gonna give him your all, if you're not gonna be given 100% under him, and you're not as part of this project, then it's better you just go, because then you can start to rebuild and start to actually build something. Because it almost feels like we're trying to desperately keep hold of Harry Kane, and he's gonna go whether it's this summer or next summer. So it's just kind of delaying the inevitable of it.
What do you make of the rumours that he's going to be available to play on Sunday? And do you think it's going to be very telling now if whether or not he is involved, what the future may lay for him? Because if he's on the bench, how do you think that affects his chances of staying?
I think if he starts, which I doubt, then he's almost definitely staying. I don't think he'd start if he wasn't staying. And that would kind of be, maybe they've drawn it under the line. They say, you know what, you stay, maybe you sign this contract, 100 million release clause or whatever. But I think the level to which he takes part is going to be quite telling. If he's on the bench and doesn't play the whole game, then that tells its own story. I don't know. I'm going back and forth on this one.
Does he celebrate? Does he celebrate if he scores on Sunday?
There's one thing not celebrating as a former club, but a future club, and we've never seen that before. He just goes, I can't celebrate.
90th minute, and then Gabriel Jesus scores the winner, and he goes.
Something's going on here. Yeah, that'll be funny.
Before he didn't turn up to training, I was adamant that he was staying. I'd placed bets with people. I've got a bet going that if he goes, I have to wear a United shirt to the United game. But yeah, I was so certain 100% that he was staying, because I didn't think they were going to stump up the cash, and it just remains to be seen. It's a difficult one.
Yeah.
I want that Martinez and Kane front two. I think that would be great.
It'd be dynamite, wouldn't it? Absolute dynamite.
Did you, and also in terms of players who might be leaving before the end of the window, you think there's any chance Ndombele it goes out the door before the end of the window, and even if he does want to leave, can you see Levy either cutting his losses, or do you see anyone stumping up that kind of cash for Ndombele? 55 million that we paid, and plus 200 grand a week. What do you make of the situation?
I think it's a difficult one now because I think a lot of what we would expect from Levy isn't the same right now with Paratici, because it does seem like Paratici has his ear, that he's able to convince him for things. And we know that Levy, you hear rumours that in previous windows and last couple windows, he still wouldn't sell Sanchez for anything under what he bought him for. And I think if this was just purely Levy and you got offers coming in for Ndombele under what we signed him for, it would be a definite no. Whereas, say, because it remains to be seen whether he's fallen out of Nuno already or whether he's not part of his plans, that he might not be, have a starring role this season. So if Paratici says to him, look, he's not going to play, it's not worth it, let's just get him out the door for like a bit less, or maybe, I don't know, could we use him as a swap deal for an Inter player? We know they did have interest in him. I don't think we should rule out him going this summer, because I think with Paratici and his plans and maybe wanting to get funds in, if he's a player you can get a sizable sum for and put that to defence or striker or second striker or anything like that, I think that could definitely happen. But like I said, if it was up to me, I'd give him one more season. It just remains to be seen. It's so up in the air.
What do you make of the whole? There was an article written today on Ndombele, and it was kind of implying that a lot of managers kind of feel like maybe he's indifferent and doesn't care, but that's just part of his personality. And his personality is he's a bit shy, a bit of an introvert, doesn't speak a lot. Do you think he's misunderstood, or do you think he's got an attitude problem?
I don't think he's got an attitude problem as such. I do think that perhaps his behavioural aspects on the pitch and in training and so on don't come across as someone who's 100% committed. And the problem is, when you're in a league as physical as this and you don't look like you're 100% committed, you're not going for these full-blooded tackles and so on, you're not being that physical, it's difficult to always justify your place in the starting lineup. And it's not just one manager who's fought it. I mean, obviously Poch wasn't in long enough to see what you would have thought of Ndombele, but so you got Mourinho, who we know his thoughts on him, and although he did get him playing in season just gone, it's still, like I said, I don't feel you got consistent levels from Ndombele. We know that he said something like, talent-wise, he's up there with the best in Europe, but he hasn't got the same attitude-wise. And I think that's kind of what we can see in terms of, I don't think it's that he doesn't care. I just think that how he is, he's not that kind of physical player who's always going to put in, 100% physically and fitness-wise. But then Mason didn't use him, and there's got to be a reason why Mason didn't use him, even for that short tenure. And now you've got Nuno not even using him in pre-season when he's back. He said he was able to play against Arsenal, but didn't even get subbed on. I can't remember if he was a part of the substitute bench at all.
He wasn't. He wasn't in the squad.
Yeah, wasn't part of the substitute bench. And Nuno's said he's doing that kind of, skirting around the subject. Oh, he's not got an injury or anything, but it's not the right time to get him in as part of the team. Well, I think you kind of read through the lines. It's once again this situation that's plagued Ndombele with Mason likelihood, although we didn't exactly hear, and then through Mourinho. So it's getting difficult to defend him. That's the issue.
Fair enough, Dan. Good to speak to you, my friend.
Dan, absolutely brilliant call, mate. Thanks for calling in, and we'll see you soon, mate.
Speak to you in a bit.
Thanks for a good day.
Up the Spurs. Come on.
Spurs. Super chat here from Anup Narayanan says, if City are offering 130 million plus silver for Kane, then maybe we should get Martinez, Vlahovic, and Skriniar and Tomiyasu. It would fit. It would just fix a lot of problems we have. Could also sell Dyer, Sanchez. Thoughts? I mean, that all sounds perfect, but unfortunately, football doesn't usually play out like that. Getting Martinez or Vlahovic plus a Skriniar plus a Tomiyasu, and Bernardo Silva as well. I mean, is this all possible? I don't know. I don't know if it's all if it's all possible. I would love it. I think that would definitely help us. Could sell Dyer and Sanchez? I don't think we're going to sell Dyer and Sanchez. I think it'll be one of them.
2-3 weeks.
It's too much to do. It's so much to do.
I'm starting to think that both of them are staying, to be honest.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that we're not even going to get another centre back, and we're going to stick with them.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling that I've just got a bad feeling about that. We're going to justify Sanchez's good performance in pre-season. Oh,
Literally
he's ready.
His one good performance, his one only performance.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. We'll have to wait and see.
And his first against Man City, he's going to fall flat on his face again.
Yeah, God, I hope not. Have to wait. I really hope we. That's not in our thinking, but I just have a feeling it might be.
Any more tweets to get through?
There was also a Mr. Ridgecut. Welcome to Gold.
Mr. Ridgecut, eh?
Mr.
Welcome to the
Ridgecut.
family, my friend, Mr. Ridgecut. But are there any more tweets to get through?
Echo BDO says, I heard we could sign Barella, probably swap deal with Ndombele. Thoughts?
I might take that, you know. I might take
Barella
that.
for Tanguy. He's probably one player, so I might think.
I might
yeah,
take
you
that
know what?
because this guy is top quality.
He's got serious ability, doesn't he?
Top
Barella.
quality, Nicola.
If they're
Barella.
willing to do a swap deal, I mean, I wouldn't be that against it.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be that against it.
But again, you really think a cash-strapped Inter Milan are going to pay you Tanguy Ndombele? The wages is on here.
Yeah, definitely not. Well, I don't know how much Barella's on, but not that much.
I think
probably.
Ndombele to thing is a non-starter to Inter. And by the way, on the Martinez deal, I mean, he's got 2 years left in his deal and he's on 40 grand a week. So if he doesn't accept the contract offer that they're giving him, they might have to sell.
True, because they're not going to get. That'll be one of their last opportunities. Matt Hayes has tagged us in a tweet. Says, I've been saying this all along. Inter are in a position where their financial situation can demand a huge sale in the flash of an eye. We can't give up on this just yet. I'm growing more confident every day that we'll see this man in a Spurs shirt. This was in response to a tweet which said Lautaro Martinez. Oh, the Romano tweet that says Martinez remains a possibility.
I mean, Romano has flung the door wide open again today, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's saying it's a possibility. But Inter themselves are saying it's not.
Yeah.
So I guess that's always going to be Inter's position, just like it's Tottenham's position that Kane's not for sale, isn't it? So when we know that at the right price he probably is. So that's probably the case with Inter Milan. But it's whether we're prepared to go as high as they want. It's whether with Lukaku going, what their position is. Are they if they're less open to selling or not? I don't know.
Who they're bringing through the door as well.
Yeah. A lot of moving parts still to go. I don't think it's completely dead, but it might be one of those deals where if you could spend a lot of time on it and then it could end up not happening. That's the thing.
Like
and
a Dybala.
Exactly, and then you're stuck.
Yeah.
And I'm just worried that's going to happen.
Paratici likes to work on 10 deals at a time, so we're all
True.
good.
What else have we been tagged in? Lewis Titmus says, do you agree with Tottenham TV? Players to keep. Romero, well, we just got him. Definitely he's one of them to keep. Romero, Reguilon, Sessegnon, Tanganga, Højbjerg, Skip, Lo Celso, Son, Lucas. That's it. Is that everyone?
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
Wow, it's so depressing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 players.
Yeah.
So who's not on that list? Dyer, Sanchez, Davis, Doherty,
Winks.
Aurier, Winks, Sissoko.
Bergwijn's not even on that list.
Bergwijn.
I mean, I'd put Bergwijn into that list. I mean, I hate all this Bergwijn slander.
Deli's not on the list.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Bergwijn, Deli, Ndombele, a few others, there should be 2 lists, like sell, needs to prove themselves, and keep. You know what I mean?
Sounds like there needs to be a video.
Yeah. Sell, needs to prove themselves, and keep.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's it. And I think that Dele Alli goes into the middle tier, Ndombele goes into the middle tier. Like all these players, Bergwijn goes into the middle tier. They all need to prove themselves.
Tom
Even Lo
Ballum.
Celso probably.
You think Lo Celso? Yeah, probably. Tom Balam says, now that Chelsea are about to spend close to 100 million on Lukaku, does that mean they're dropping interest in Koundé, and could we be back in for him? I didn't think of that as a possibility, I guess.
What's that?
If now that Chelsea are spending 100 million on Lukaku, does that mean they're going to drop their interest in Koundé?
I heard that they're going to concentrate on Koundé straight after the Lukaku deal.
No, there you go. Who said that?
I think it was Romano or someone.
Oh well, probably makes sense. Is this reliable? 90-minute? No, it's not reliable, unfortunately, but I'll read out anyway. It says Spurs have been informed by Martinez's representatives that he'd be willing to join. That is despite not being able to offer Champions League football. According to 90 Min. But 90 Min always take it from a second source, don't they? They know, don't do.
They're not a source themselves.
No, they're not a source, so. I don't know where they've got their source from. I can try and piece out. Probably not reliable though. Who's Vincent?
I don't know, but
Vincent. Who's this guy? They're sourcing this guy.
So it's
0 followers. So even more bullshit.
Even more bullshit than we thought.
Definitely not reliable. Basically, yeah. That's it, pretty much.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is your good. Oh, Jory's here.
Oh,
in the last minute, right at the death, Jory pulls through with the. Well, it says Dan, but his name's Jory. Everyone knows Jory.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm no Dan for sure. Let me introduce
Who you with there?
Anna, come on, show your face. Anna. That's
Hello, Anna.
Welcome. Welcome,
hello to
Anna.
the internet.
Welcome.
Be nice,
Hello.
everyone. Lovely.
Yeah.
Teach him young. I like it.
I love how they're just walking around the house in Spurs shirts. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta bring him in young, you know.
Exactly.
Share the misery, right, guys?
Yeah, exactly. I hope you've told her what kind of life she has in front of her following Spurs.
Yeah. I've been talking to Jonas a lot. He keeps saying like Spurs are so sucky. I want to change team.
Dad, what have you done?
That's fine, son. It's okay. I won't blame you. But he never does. He always takes for the Spurs, just like us, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Just like us. Talk to me, Joy, about Tanguy Ndombele. What's your opinion on him? And do you think that would you be gutted if he was to leave this summer?
No, but I mean, I think at least us three would be gutted not to realize his potential, you know, because we all see it. And I think everybody who loves football sees it if they take a look at him. But what I actually sent you a tweet. I don't know, maybe you got me blocked or something. You're sick of my comments or something.
You sent us a tweet. I didn't see that.
No, but anyway, in that tweet I was saying like for me the bigger question really is how many seasons are we ready to sacrifice while we wait for him to come good, you know? Because we would be sacrificing seasons because this is like the heart of the transition that we're talking about. And if he's, you know, whether it be the head or the fitness or whatever, if he's not there, then I really think the cost, like in general, I think the cost of having something in an unresolved situation, even with Kane, even though we know Kane is always going to be professional and put in his work, having things in a kind of a non-settled way and a way that we know won't be the future of the club is expensive, like much more than you can actually put into numbers, really. So I think if that's really where it's at, and if Nuno, unlike maybe Jose, thinks it's not worth putting in the extra work to get him to come around, you know, because I'm also kind of a little bit there, like if people don't want to realize what they have, you know, you really can't you can't spend too much time about around it, you know. Like I take in, you know, I use people in my work, you know, and it's an artist-based staff that I have, you know, and I kind of my approach is like, you know, if you don't go for it yourself, then there's little I can do for you, you know. It's kind of like I can teach you anything with tools and whatever, but if you have a crappy attitude, I'm too late to teach you anything about that, you know. So
yeah, but Jory, in the article I was reading before, they were claiming that his personality and the way he is can be misconstrued or misunderstood as a potential indifference and a potential attitude problem or lack of caring. Do you think maybe he's misunderstood by a few by managers who don't understand his psyche, or do you think he generally does just have an attitude problem?
Well, the thing about these types of guys, I feel like I understand quite well because I kind of grew up in a kind of a ghetto, as ghetto as it gets in Scandinavia, in
Okay.
Copenhagen, and there was we, including myself, this is kind of a very normal kind of, you kind of default when you feel insecure and you don't feel like you belong, you default to becoming like the aloof outsider, because that's a safe place to be. Nobody can really nobody can knock you that way, or nobody can dismiss you or turn you down. So instead of, so you don't even approach them as wanting their thing. And that's kind of what I'm seeing from Tanguy now. It's like almost like he's trying to play, I'm too good for this, or I'm not even that bothered by it or whatever. And that's in professional, or just in professional life in general, that's really a bad attitude to get to. But he doesn't know any better. And I thought, because what I really thought, and I still think, Mourinho is a very, very good father type coach if the players open up to him. But he is confrontational for sure, so it can go both ways. But I kind of feel like after all that, first drama, Mourinho got through to him and did get a rise out of him. But I also kind of feel like Nunes, he doesn't have the patience for it. We need to get busy now in his view. So he can't be doing these pet projects, and I kind of agree with that. I mean, if it could also be one of those that we can spend years and years on trying, like really giving him the extra attention and care, and it'll never come good, because it's just that kind of a role that he's put himself in the victim role, and we're kind of over mothering him almost, and that can never that can like become permanent, so for him to go to another club is probably good for him, and we can then at least move on, then I don't know, maybe we could get a Sabitzer and a Damsgaard in as
But
well, so
Jory, do you think Spurs, having signed him for 55 million 2 years ago and he's on 200 grand a week, first of all, is anyone going to come in for that kind of transfer fee? And is anyone going to pay that kind of wage for him? So are we stuck with him, or are we going to have to take a massive loss? And would you take that massive loss?
That's once again also, what's the cost of keeping something in the squad that's not going to work out, so I think it's very important to take these losses when you know that it's not going to come good. I don't know, you say PSG won't go for him. I mean, I don't know if that's if I can definitely, I just feel in general every high earner out there has had a bit of a hit down after Messi, released from Barcelona. But now it seems like the deal is done for PSG. Which was, I guess you guys heard about Tottenham being one of the first to inquire about Messi.
Yeah, I think we probably laughed out.
Don Paratici was on the phone to his father as soon as he heard the news.
Tentative inquiries.
Yeah. Well, Tottenham is the greatest Argentinian club outside of Argentina. So
Fair point.
Yeah. But no, I think Ndombele will. Yeah, it will be difficult to find a new home for him for sure. I think probably like a loan is probably, maybe the German league. I don't know.
Loan with an obligation to buy, one of those things.
I don't know Bayern. I don't know Bayern's situation with their midfield. I can see him, fitting into many leagues, German, Italian. I mean, like the Italian league, I feel like would be ideal for him. And the Premier League, if he would put in the work and have his head right. But it could
Yeah.
also be this kind of breaking point. Like he's very distraught now that he's losing his security around Sissoko and Aurier, you know. And maybe that's exactly what we need as a club for them to get out of the way, to stop making this toxic safe space for him to really integrate into the squad. You know, you never know. It could be one of those as well. You know, so
Instead of
uh,
having what the La Mafia and
yeah,
all the different
yeah,
crews, and maybe he needs to kind of step out of the shell a bit. And yeah,
yeah,
maybe it'll be good for him in that sense if when
yeah.
Sissoko and Aurier leaves. As much as he will probably be a bit apprehensive about it,
Hmm.
maybe in the long term be good. Moving on from Ndombele, yeah, go on. What were you
Yeah,
going to say?
yeah. No, no. I was just gonna say, in general, in life, I think that's good for him to get. He needs to go out on a limb. He needs to experience that he's more capable as a person than he really realizes. He's very insecure. You know, he needs to get some wins in there. And like I said last time, a Delhi or something could be the perfect kind of friend that he would need right now. But the language is a barrier as well, you know. So there's many problems there, really, you know. So
True.
uh, yeah,
That needs to be sorted. But moving on from Tanguy, and when we talk about Harry Kane again, there's
Again and again and
again, never going to stop. But there are reports yesterday that Nuno says he's going to be made available for the game on Sunday. Do you expect him to play, and do you expect to read a lot into whether he does play or not on Sunday?
to be honest, I kind of think we're being pulled around for a ride here by both camps right now. I think a lot more is settled and done than the news is coming out. I mean, Ali Gold is a very reliable source, but he is also a source that takes all his information straight from the club. So they have numerous occasions used him, you know, to sell season tickets, whatever. I'm not saying Ali Gold is not doing his due diligence. He certainly is, but when you're that connected to the source, you will always be a victim of their PR machine, I think. And also on the other side, I think, I mean, to be honest, I think the drama is less than what we're experiencing. I think it's a little bit of a show to make us swallow the deal. And I've always kind of thought the deal was in already for a long time, really. And I think it is. I think it's details, and but we know with these details, it can make, you know, leave if somebody is gonna mess up a deal on the last details, it's gonna be Levy, you know. So it can definitely fall through, I think. But I think I mean, I think this Martinez bit and all of these like the Dusan and all that. I think that kind of gives us a great clue that we seem to have money that you know Levy was complaining about we didn't have, and so on, you know. So I think that's Kane money for sure. But it could be one of those that, can we get these guys? Okay, we can get them. Okay, then I'll agree to the deal with Man City. So and in terms of that deal, I would, for me, we would do our future project a great service if we could get like X money plus Laporte, for example. Then our back two is settled. Like I would say, instead of getting a 1-2, we're getting 2 1s in the center back positions. You know, 2 aces there. And now we really just need a really strong right back, and I feel good about the defense now. I think what we've seen from Golini already, he's not going to give Hugo a single moment to rest. So I think whether it'll be Golini or Hugo, they'll both be on the top of their game this season.
Who would your ideal centre back partnership be for Romero? Like in the squad
I
right
mean,
now, in the squad.
Yeah, no, okay. So what we got right now, well, that's the problem, right? I would definitely, I would give Roden the time to develop. I don't want to waste any more time with Dyer. I
Yeah.
mean, I think there's the reason I would pick even Sanchez over Dyer is because the upside is there with Sanchez. It's not there with Dyer, but there's more disaster with Sanchez for sure. But I've also talked about that before. Being a lot quicker than the rest of the defense means that it's often left to Sanchez alone to take care of business, and that's when bad things happen and he feels the pressure and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say it should be, even though it would be two young guys, you would definitely want more experience in that back line. But it is a project. I think Romero, I think the fact that we're going in for this Argentinian angle right now is very interesting, because we're basically picking some key players out of a squad that just won the Copa America, so they're winner. They know what winning is, and they don't have they won't be coming in with I think we really need to put an effort in to make them all Spursy as well. I think they really have it what we need. So hopefully we won't corrupt these young lads as well. But I don't think I really think we're in trouble if we don't sign another centre back for sure. I mean, as much as I love Roden, I loved him in the Euros. He was great, and I think just from the start, I've always seen amazing kind of tools and skills from him. It's just a question of him being young. He's gonna. I mean, if he keeps this trajectory on, he will be a great centre back in the Premier League, I think. So.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, Jory.
All right, guys.
Nice to see you, my friend. Always
Likewise.
to see you.
Keep up the great work, man.
Thank you.
bro.
Thanks a lot, Jory.
Speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
now.
See ya.
There's been, I know he's probably not the most reliable, Calcio Mercato, Rudy Galetti are saying that Inter have just offered 25 million euros plus bonuses for Joaquin Correa.
From Lazio.
Yeah.
Interesting. So maybe if that goes through, could free up Martinez. That could be interesting. Apparently, though, of the money, out of the 180
Dzeko's a
million,
done deal already.
apparently out of the 180 million they got for Lukaku, they're only going to invest 35.
Well,
of that.
apparently over half of that is going straight to Man United or something.
No, that's all rubbish. It's not
Is it
over,
rubbish?
It's not half.
How much is it?
Apparently, it's about 6 million or something.
6? Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, so why did they make such a big deal out of it?
Who's they?
Just people on the internet.
Because they saw that they've owed money, which they do, but I don't think it's as much as people thought.
Okay. I think that is your Good Morning Tottenham for today. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another Good Morning Tottenham. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
Come on, you Spurs.
come on you Spurs.